Hey everyone, Lunthony Duntano here, the internet's busiest music nerd. And it's time for a review of the new Benjamin Clementine album, at least for now. Benjamin Clementine is a pianist, a songwriter, and a poet hailing from the UK, who completely fell under my radar this past year, but I stumbled across this record after I saw that he walked away with a Mercury Prize. And when I gave a listen to this thing, I found that it was a pretty refreshing, organic, beautiful, emotionally stirring album. However, I will say that there was really nothing instantaneous about this record. It took me a few listens to really get what Benjamin was doing on this record, or at least be moved by it. But once I got into it, I had realized that Benjamin's music is more familiar in tone than I originally thought. If you're into dramatic jazz artists like Nina Simone, who find an incredible amount of power in reservation and subtlety and storytelling and vocal delivery, then I think you will like this record. And also, if you're a fan of French chanson, a very theatrical style of French music, like Brel, Gainsbourg, Leonard Cohen, artists like that, then I think you're going to dig this album as well, because it's really a fusion of these two worlds. And these worlds are fused to a pretty powerful effect. A lot of the time I found myself hanging on Benjamin's every word. Sort of like on the song Adios. Adios, the decision is mine! Really just fantastic and very powerfully stated proclamations all over this track. Benjamin's vocal delivery is stunning, and the very tight piano phrases and the swelling strings really enhance that emotional drama. And right in the middle of this song, it's like he kind of stops entirely to sort of tell this story, or just extend the story of this track into this little detour about coming face to face with an angel, and then that angel sings a song, and then he kind of goes into a different tune entirely. There are a lot of highlights on this record, from lyrical highlights on the song Nemesis, where it is sung that if you held your breath on me, you would probably die 1,000,000 times. And then we have moments on this record which are incredibly just heart-wrenching and somber, like The People and I. Again, the music on this record really serves as a foundation for Benjamin to sit atop and deliver a series of costumed monologues and very stunning poetry, contorted dances, and emotional exorcisms. Now, there are some tracks on here which are a little more direct, a little more catchy, like the song London, where the track feels very calculated, it feels very planned out, it has one of the strongest choruses on the entire record. But then there are moments on this album where, like the opening track, Winston Churchill's Boy, it's almost as if every single thing coming out of Clementine's head is being said right off of the dome. Some of these tracks feel like conversations Benjamin is having with himself or an imagined participant. So the record does feature a good mix of these more accessible cuts, these tracks with more defined verses and choruses, and these other songs which sort of seem to be very indulgent in their own little world. So it's cool that we get both sides of Benjamin on this record, but each of these sides of the album have their pros and have their cons. The more direct and catchier songs on the record, the piano phrases and the rhythms on these tracks feel almost looped, or they're so tightly synced that the natural fluid groove of these tracks is kind of gone, it's kind of lost. The organic sound of the drums and the pianos aren't matched with an organic fluid groove to the instrumentation. And then the tracks that are more indulgent sort of seem to go so far down the rabbit hole that I'm not really sure how to interpret or make heads or tails of these tracks. This mostly happens in the second half of the record, where I can sense that Benjamin is putting a whole lot of emotion and energy into the song, but the structure of the track is so loose and it's so cobbled together that it doesn't really hold any of Benjamin's efforts within it. It's like trying to carry a quart of water in a colander. But the moments on the album where I'm completely unimpressed are very few. Not so few that I love the album, but few enough to the point where I see the potential in what Benjamin is doing, and I see the passion, and I think that he's going to continue to progress in his music. There are some wrinkles on this album that I have no doubt will be ironed out with future releases, because the vast majority of the time on this record, Benjamin Clementine comes off incredibly riveting. I'm feeling a light to decent 7 on this thing. Trans.